Hi everyone, thanks for joining in. This is your instructor Rahul. I hope everyone is able to hear me and able to see the screen.
Yes.
All right, thanks. Okay, so let us get started with our training. This is a new Selenium with Core Java batch that we are going to start. And today is like an introductory session of this batch. So we have mixed audience today, mixed audience as in there are some people who have already completed the Core Java sessions and now getting started with Selenium. And there are some new joinees who need to start with the core Java very first session. So from the very beginning. So today's session is like a mixed session in which we'll be discussing something about Selenium. We're going to go through the overview and the configuration of Selenium. We're not going to touch any coding part. Although we'll be writing a little bit, a very minimum code. Just for the introduction purpose to come to know that what exactly Selenium is. So we'll be writing a little bit of code, but we are not going to go in depth of the programming part. And the other thing, like in order to work on Selenium, you need not to know, the advanced level of programming. It's just the basic programming concepts that you may have studied during your graduation, like basic if, else, loops, oops concepts. So these are the things which are actually required for Selenium. So we don't need any developer level of programming. So in case you are from manual testing background, then you should be able to do this course easily because we are going to cover everything from scratch before we jump onto the Selenium part. We'll be building up a base of core Java programming and then we'll be moving on to the Selenium part. So I can see a huge audience today. So very quickly in the chat box, you can you tell me like who all are new joining and who all have completed the core Java training. So just write core Java completed and you can just write new one. So I come to know, okay, you are new one or how many are new today? Okay. That's great. That's great. So I can see a lot of new people today, right? There are some who have completed the core Java part, right? And there are many new, as compared to the people who have already done core Java. So a lot of new people over here. That's great. That's great.
Rahul sir, good evening. This is Naresh. I'm doing my revision. Actually, I have to give the interview. That's why.
That's fine, Naresh. That's fine.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. All right. So before we get started with the training, is there anything that you want to discuss? Anything related to the training, related to Selenium or related to automation? Anything that you want to discuss before we get started? Anyone? So guys, I really want to make this session very interactive. It's not like for the complete 2 hours only I'll be talking and then you'll only be listening. So let's make it like a classroom session so that you should not feel like you are attending an online session. Let's make it very interactive. So any questions that you have, you can simply unmute yourself and you can directly ask to me, or you have a chat box as well. In case you don't want to speak, you can type it in the chat box. So I'll keep looking at your chats and I'm gonna revert you back.
Hello, good evening. This is Kalpana Rahul.
Yeah.
I'm a bit is it Selenium and Selenium WebDriver both are different or?
No, Selenium WebDriver is Selenium only. WebDriver is the second version of Selenium. So that is 2.0. So we're going to talk about the history of Selenium. Then
Okay.
you'll come to know. But yes, WebDriver is a part of Selenium. It's
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi,
Thank you.
Kanksha this side.
I gotcha.
I just wanted to know that Like this, the complete training of only Selenium, or what courses we're gonna cover in this means
See,
topics we're gonna cover in Selenium.
this batch is completely related to Selenium and Java. So first we'll be covering complete core Java, and then you'll be moving to the Selenium part. But yes, I mean, I guess you you have recently enrolled. So like these, like what these days, what we came up with is something called as a lifetime membership package. So most of the students have enrolled for that lifetime membership package. So in that, you can attend all our ongoing and future live trainings for free. So it's not like that you have to pay separate for Selenium Java. Then we are covering other courses as well. Like we recently, yesterday itself, we started a new batch of DevOps with AWS and Kubernetes, which is specially designed for automation test engineers. So you can attend that training as well. You can even attend manual with database testing, Cypress, Playwright, WebDriver, IO. There are a lot of trainings. And in fact, all these trainings are available in a form of a video library as well. So you're going to get complete access to all these courses that you see over here. These are like 30 plus courses. So like all the major demanding courses in automation specifically, you're going to find over here. So you can go through these detailed library. And you can also attend the live training. So like 6 to 7, more than that courses we are conducting in a live batch as well. So you can attend them in a live trainings during the weekends.
Hi, Rahul. This is Amrish here. Am I audible?
Yeah. Hi, Amrish. Yeah.
Hi, good evening. I have two questions. First is this Selenium. I have no basic knowledge on Selenium or Java either. So this would be complete new batch, right? Starting today.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And what would be it would be on happening only on Sundays or Saturday,
No,
Sundays?
it will be Saturday, Sunday. It's starting from today, but from next weekend, it will be Saturday, Sunday. So right now, we are going to cover the introduction part on Selenium. From the next week onwards, this batch will be divided into two parts. So there are some people who have completed the core Java part, will be continuing in the Selenium sessions that I'll be taking. And then rest people who have newly joined, who are joining for the very first session, they'll be moving to the core Java session. So core Java will be taken by our instructor, Mr. Ajay. So he is already working as an automation lead in one of the company in Mumbai. And he is associated with us from a long time, and he has already taken many core Java batches. So he'll be covering all the important core Java topics from very scratch, from beginning. And once you are done with the core Java sessions, then you're going to come back to the Selenium sessions, which I'm going to take.
Okay, the Java part would be embedded in the same course, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, thank you, Rahul.
Okay.
So, Rahul sir, for the Java classes, there is another batch will be going on, or this timing will be
Same, actually, the timings will going to remain same. That is 8 p.m. IST till 9:30 or 10 p.m. IST. So at the same time, Selenium batch will run, and at the same time, Java batch will run. So both are taken by different instructors. So people like who don't know Selenium, who don't know Java, will be starting with Java first, and then will be moving to the Selenium. People who know Java can skip the Java part and start with Selenium. Right. So total course duration, we're going to take at least 3.5 months. Where can you find the recordings of the session? If you missed to attend any session, then you'll be going to this particular section, Selenium 4 Core Java live training recording. So here we'll keep on uploading all the recordings. So like this is the batch which recently completed Java and now starting with Selenium. And this is the previous batch which completed Java, then Selenium started, and so on. You should be able to find recordings from all previous batches uploaded here itself.
Hi Rahul sir, Abna this side. Sir, I had a question. Like, I have completed my Java training, but means I'm not that much confident for like attending the interviews. Like, how can we prepare for interviews better?
See, right now you just completed the Java part. So
Yeah.
in Java, like mostly you have practiced the programs, like a basic core Java concept and basic OOPS concepts, but you have
Yes.
not practically implemented that anywhere.
Yeah,
Now,
because the Java was means it was new to me. I'm from manual testing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So now you are going to cover the same Java concepts in Selenium practically. So once you start automating a website and whatever basic concepts that you have studied in your core Java, you will be applying the same concepts practically while automating a website. So that will actually help you in building up a confidence in the programming part. So you're gonna see if you start writing 3-4 lines of code and you'll see that a browser is launching in front of you and all the actions like click, type, everything is happening. And then you're applying basic AFLs to that, basic loops to that, then that is what actually help you in building up your base. So normally what happens is like most of you may have studied C++ during your graduation time, right? If you're coming from a technical background. So
Yes.
you must have studied C++ earlier, but you have never applied those concepts anywhere practically. So now, like if you for the 6 months or for 1 year, if you don't apply the programming concepts practically, you may gonna forget everything. So this is where, I mean, like the interesting part is that when you study programming, you may find it little boring. But when you apply that with automation, you'll find it very interesting. And that is what helps you in building up your base for programming. So once you apply that with Selenium, you're never gonna forget your programming concepts. Right?
Uh, So Rahul sir, the benefit of this lifetime membership is like how I have learned. So like we got a chance to revise the session. Like I have revised the Java session 3 times. So like now I am confident to like automate the any website.
That's great, Naresh. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. The benefit is like anytime you feel like that you again need to revise, you can again attend next batch because Selenium Java batches are very frequent because
Yeah.
Selenium is very much in demand. I mean, everywhere in the industry, everywhere around the globe. So whenever you want to practice, you want to repeat your batches, you can easily do that.
Yes, we have to pay one time and we have like
Yeah,
took the any course any time.
exactly. Yeah. Okay, Akash has a question. For Selenium, it's only WebDriver or test engine frameworks. Yeah, we are going to cover frameworks, end-to-end framework designing from scratch will be covered. Let me show you the course content first. So just give me a moment where I have downloaded that. Yeah. So this is the detailed syllabus of Selenium with Java. So if you see like first, we are going to cover a brief history of Selenium today, and we're going to see basic configuration as well. Then we're going to start with detailed core Java, which is specially designed for manual testers and the beginners. So we're going to start everything from scratch. Then we'll be covering all latest topics of Selenium for from basics till advanced level. We're going to do a lot of integrations, which is we'll see all latest topics of Selenium 4. Then we're going to integrate your TestNG framework. Then the other integrations you're going to see is the reporting part, the database testing part, connecting with different APIs for Excel reading, for Log4j, or sending automated emails. We're going to see some remote execution of test on the remote machines. We're going to connect to Dockers. So we're going to integrate Dockers, Jenkins, Maven, and even AWS Cloud. So this is actually a very detailed course content, and we're going to take at least 3.5 months of your time to cover all these topics. And then we'll be designing these 2 live projects from scratch. So this will include your hybrid framework, data plus keyword driven framework. and then page objects and page factory. So these are the two live projects which we are going to design completely from scratch, end to end on a live website. We'll be automating test cases. After doing this much, you'll be very much confident to automate any website in the world. And once you add these things in your resume, this is going to give you an additional weightage to your resume. And you should, if you're coming from a manual testing background, you should be able to justify your 2-3 years of experience in Selenium automation easily. But Selenium is not the end. Selenium is just your beginning in automation. Selenium will help you in building up your base for automation. Your automation roadmap is quite wide. There are so many things that you actually need to integrate with the Selenium part, because Selenium automates only the UI part. UI as in Selenium is for website automation. There are a lot of things we integrate like APIs, like mobile, a lot of things are there, which we're going to talk about in detail in our today's session. So after today's session, it will be very much clear to you what exactly Selenium is, how you're going to go through with all the content in Selenium, and then what all integrations that are required and what is your roadmap. So these are the things that we'll be discussing in detail today. Git, Yogesh, we have included Git in our DevOps training. So DevOps is running parallel to Selenium training. See, there are endless topics in Selenium, so everything cannot be included, but I have covered most of the topics which is required for Selenium, and these Git and other topics we are covering in detail in the DevOps session. So DevOps batch started yesterday itself, and will I guess today they started with the Git topic. So we are going to cover in depth of GitHub. So you can try joining those sessions as well.
In this batch also, suppose from start itself. So
See,
why I suggested this, because because from start itself we'll be able to push the code into Git and all.
Okay, that we can do. We can try pushing up the code to the GitHub repository. So that we can do. That we can do.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, so for resume, I'm going to forward you some effective resumes. You can even prepare your resume and based on those resumes and can forward it to me for validation. So I'll assist you in that. So don't worry.
Rahul, regarding resume, I've got career break. No, the recent work only they are actually checking. So there is no project work to display or not worked any project. How do I go about it?
See, like since you have got a break, so I mean, I can give you some resumes. You can try adding those projects in that, but you need to be very careful while explaining those, because if you lose confidence somewhere, then they're going to come to know whether you've worked on that project or not. So normally what happens is, if you have ever worked on a manual testing background, if you have done manual testing of any website or any project, then you can modify your experience to convert that project into automation. So normally what happens when you go out for an interview, if they ask you that explain your project that you've automated, then you can talk about your in-house project at least for 10-15 minutes without any break. So that is where they come to know that you are very much confident in explaining that project. So you have practically worked on it. Right. So if you pick up some project from any resume or the project that I'll give you, if you paste that project as it is in your resume, then you need to be very much careful while explaining that project, that are you able to explain it for 5-10 minutes or not? Because the end interviewer knows nothing about that project. He just want to see your confidence. And then how much technical technical that you know about Selenium, you have practically worked or not.
So manual testing as such, I mean, I've not done any project work.
That's fine.
Only during training only, whatever I learned.
That's fine. So during our automation, we'll be picking up a lot of live websites. We're going to see a lot of examples. So like once you cover all these things, once you try to automate these things on your own as well, you're going to get that confidence, and then you should be able to show that confidence in the time of interview as well.
Okay, so if you could give the whatever the project, because even if I have to make up, I don't know what to put in the projects.
Sure. Let's cover the classes first. Then you can decide like how you are going to approach it in the interviews, whether how much confidence you are getting. So these things will gonna come once I give you a lot of assignments. You try practicing those assignments, try submitting those back to me. And it's just the incremental development process. The more you practice step by step, that confidence is going to come.
Okay.
Java and Selenium both can't be taken parallel because both are running at the same time. Okay. Any more questions before we get started?
Yes, so I have total 8 years of experience in manual testing, and I'm just means heading towards automation. So means at the end of this training, will I be able to like show my experience like 1 or 2 years in automation?
Absolutely.
Like as you told to Kalpana that what all like I have worked in mobile application. So means we will be able to explain that mobile application by automation, right?
You can explain the mobile application as well, or you can explain any in-house web application of your organization as well.
Okay.
Acceptance testing, I mean, see, anything related to web can be covered in Selenium. So be it acceptance, be it regression, BBT, smoke, anything that you have the test case ready, you can automate it. For automation, the manual test cases should be ready and the application must be stable. Is it easy to move on automation 6, 7? Absolutely. Why not? It's not like everyone is directly getting started with automation. So even when I started my career, I mean, for 4 or 5 years, I've continuously done manual testing only, right? So most of us, I mean, when we start our career in testing, we start with manual testing, right? So it's not like after 6 years, if you have 6 years of manual testing experience, now you are learning Selenium. So out of those 6 years, try to add 2-3 years in between that in automation. And trust me, companies are not going to go inside your company and we're going to check whether you have worked on manual or automation, right? So don't worry about that part. All right, so we're going to take more questions later on. Let us get started with our topic first. So before we get started, the very first thing, what exactly is Selenium? So since we are going to discuss about Selenium only, so what do you know about Selenium? Anything that you know, anything you may have studied or Googled around, just let me know what exactly is Selenium.
Selenium is an open source automation tool.
It's an open source automation tool, correct? So it's an open source automation tool. Open source automation tool for what? For browser. Browser means for web-based application testing only, right? So Selenium is an open source automation tool. Okay, there's another answer, libraries. So we can call it as a library as well. So it's an open source automation library for web-based application testing. Correct. So open source means there is no license required to work on Selenium. Right. There are other automation tools as well available in the market like QTP, UFT, RFT, and number of automation tools. Some are paid, some are open source. Some they charge very heavy license in order to use their tool, and some are completely free of cost. So Selenium comes in the category of completely free of cost, no license required. Anyone can download Selenium and can start using it without paying anything. But you can only automate web-based applications. You can only automate web-based applications. You cannot automate other. What all other applications are there apart from web-based? So we have We have web-based. We have web-based applications. We have desktop applications. We have mobile-based applications. We have database application, correct? Anything else about web services? So web services like REST, like SOAP, right? Mainframe database is almost similar. Anything else apart from this where you have done manual? So these are the things where you must have done manual testing. You must have tested some desktop application. If you're coming from a mobile platform, you must have tested some mobile native hybrid web applications. If there are some database testers, you must have tested like via writing SQL queries through SQL, MySQL, Oracle, MongoDB, a lot of database there, right? You must have done some API testing manually using different tools, right? So these are the platforms where we generally perform testing. We can do manual testing on all these areas, and we can automate all these applications using different available tools. But if you talk about Selenium, Selenium comes over here only. Selenium is only and only for web-based application testing. Then why there is such hype of Selenium? I mean, everywhere you see Selenium is these days like a prerequisite, right? Even if you search for any opening in any job portal, Naukri, Indeed, Monster, right? You'll see that Selenium is like a prerequisite if you search any opening for manual testing as well. Right, there was a time when you know a little bit of manual testing, you can easily switch your jobs. But now, even if you are applying for a manual testing job, you don't know automation, you don't know Selenium, then your CV might not gonna get shortlisted. So why it is like Selenium? It's like a prerequisite, not other tools. There are other many tools available in the market. So there is one competitor of Selenium, which is like QTP, UFT. So at times, QTP, UFT market was like anything. If we talk about automation, the very first tool comes in our mind was QTP. But now it is Selenium. So it's completely free. That's true. Selenium is free, but QTP, UFT is a licensed tool. There's a heavy license cost with it. QTP can also automate desktop applications, but Selenium can only automate web-based application. These days, if we talk about the current industry, it's a time of cloud computing. So everything is on web, right? Most of your projects are accessed via URL, right? Because it's a time of cloud computing. So companies, they don't prefer everyone to install the software on the desktop and then start using it. It is already available on a cloud. It is already available on some AWS, some Azure, right? So most of the applications are web-based, and Selenium can automate anything and everything available over the web. So this is one of the best part. It is true that Selenium is completely open source, but that is not the only reason why companies are leaving QTP, companies are leaving other automation tools and moving towards Selenium. There are a lot of things that Selenium can do that other paid automation tools cannot do. So some of the features, like you have listed down in the chat box as well, that there is a multi-language support. So what are languages Selenium supports? So it works with Java, it works with C#, it works with Python, JavaScript, Ruby, PHP. All major languages in the world are supported by Selenium. Then we have got independent browsers, right? Multi-browser support. So what all browsers? We can work on Chrome, Firefox, Safari, IE, Edge, Opera. All major browsers are supported. Anything apart from this? Multi-language support, multi-browser support. Anything Anything else that you know that we can use with Selenium? Any feature of Selenium? Dependencies? Large community support. Yes, that's true. It has got a large community support. Since it's an open source project, many big organizations are involved in this project. So open source does not only means that it is free of cost. Open source means that anyone can contribute into the development of this project as well. So if you know some programming, if you're good in development, then you can join the Selenium community and you can start adding some features in this project as well. You can help them in bug fixing as well. So it's an open source community. So a lot of developers from Adobe, from Facebook, from Google, they are actually contributing into the development of this project. That is the reason why it is very popular. Right, so it has got a multi-platform support as well. Platform as in OS. So you can run your code on Windows, on Linux, on Mac, on Solaris, on iOS, on Android. All major platforms are supported by Selenium. If we talk about QTP, UFT, then which language QTP UFT supports? Can anyone tell me which language it supports? VB script. And which operating system VB script supports? Windows, correct. Because VB script is a part of Microsoft, right? And it runs only and only on Windows. Just remember this. So it works only and only on Windows. But these days, clients, they want that their product should be fully tested on all major operating systems, because end user could use Linux, could use Mac, could use Windows, any operating system. Even he can open up, launch up their application on your mobile device as well. So it should be fully tested everywhere. Whereas if we talk about QTP, if we start automating any application using QTP, we can only run it on Windows. Right? So this is one of the biggest drawbacks. We cannot test it on different operating system. And whereas if we talk about Selenium, so VB script is just a scripting language. Whereas Java, C#, Python, these are purely object-oriented languages. If we talk about Java itself, if you ever install Java, the first message you're going to see is that 3 billion devices runs on Java. So be it Linux, Mac, iOS, Android, any operating system you name is supported by Java. And if you're running your Selenium code in Java, you can execute that code in any operating system that you want, and that too completely free of cost without paying any license. So this is one of the best things with Selenium, that there is no language barrier. There is no, if you're coming from any background, even like there are many developers who move to automation because they're good in programming, right? So if we talk about development, we know that as compared to testers, the developer packages are really good, right? But this is only in the case of manual testing. If we talk about automation, then automation testers are getting equivalent packages to what developers are getting. And at times the packages are very high as compared to developer as well. So because we are doing almost the similar work, although we are not using any advanced programming, but we are going to write the code, we are going to write the scripts, the automation scripts, we'll be working on frameworks, right? So it is almost a similar job that we are doing, but our job is not as hectic as it is of developer. Because if the product has to be released, to production or to the UAT server, at times the developer has to stretch their shift. They have to work for 10 hours, 12 hours to release that product. But it's not like an automation guy has to stretch and he has to complete his automation task. Although there are timelines defined, but it's not like a rush. If the product production release is there, then we have to stretch and we have to complete the automation task as well. Our task is done based on the timelines that we have given. Right. So there is very, very cool environment in automation as compared to manual testing or as compared to the development part. And the salary packages are equivalent high as compared to developers. So this is one of the best thing in automation. And that is the reason why most of the people from development, they're moving towards automation as well. So be it they are from C# background, they are from Java background, they are from Python background, anyone can work with Selenium because Selenium supports all major languages. Right? So this is one of the best things with Selenium. Yeah, I'm going to share these notes. Don't worry. Okay. The other thing, how many what is the current version of Selenium? Can anyone tell me? 4. Correct. So it's Selenium 4.10.0. Not 4.4, it's 4.10.0. This is the latest version of Selenium. So it means prior to Selenium 4, there were other Selenium versions as well. So when Selenium was started, the very first version was 1.0. Then the second version came into the market, that is 2.0, and this release went up to 2.53.1. And then Selenium 3 came in the market. And this release went up to 3.1 for 1.59. So this 5.3.1, this 1 for 1, these are the build numbers. Like 1.0, like in case you have seen the software development lifecycle, whenever your project, a product is released, then the product comes with some version. And whenever there are new enhancements done, new features being added to the same product, then the number increments to like 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. And whenever there's a major update in the product, some technology updated, they change the version from 2.0 to 3.0. Then that release keeps on running with the new features and the bug enhancements, right? And then whenever another major update is done, they again change the version to 4.0. So same thing happened with Selenium as well. So initially this was started around 2004 by a developer named as Jason Huggins. So he is the person who is behind this Selenium project, right? And like in long time back, he started this project, and now you can see it's almost 2023. So it's almost 20 years. Selenium is there in the industry, right? Long time. So when he started this project, he has created a very small project in order to automate his daily routine tasks. And that project went up to such an extent, they thought of giving it some name. And they came up with a name called as Selenium. Now, why only Selenium? There is a history behind this name as well. At that point of time, one of the major automation tool was there in the market, which we know with the name as QTP. Prior to QTP, the name was like Windrunner. And which company was the owner of this QTP? Anyone knows? Mercury, correct. So Mercury initially came up with this QTP. If we talk about Mercury in general terms, what exactly is Mercury? I believe everyone have seen Mercury. Not like a planet, but in thermometers, right? So Mercury is there in a thermometer. So it's basically a poisonous element. If someone breaks the thermometer and intake that mercury, then he's gonna die. So Selenium is basically an antidote to mercury. Selenium kills mercury. That is the reason they have given this project name as Selenium. So to end the market of QTP Selenium. And up to such an extent, they are successful as well. Not just because of the cost that it is completely open source, There are a lot of factors behind it. There are a lot of things which QTP can't support, which you can integrate with Selenium. And this is because Selenium is not a tool. Yes, that's correct. Selenium is not a tool. Tool means that you get some setup file, you double click on it like a exe file, like with UFT, QTP, and other automation tools. We get a setup file, we double click on it, do next, we install it on our machine. It provides us a platform where we get some GUI part, where we can do some record and play, we can do some scripting, we can use a lot of features of that tool. It is not like that with Selenium. You can't even see Selenium because it's not a tool. You cannot install Selenium. If it is not a tool, then what exactly is Selenium? It's a library. What else? What else is Selenium? It's a collection of libraries. It's a project. It's a framework. Library, if we talk about library with Java, it is available in a form of a jar file. If we talk about Selenium as a C#, it is available in a form of a DLL file. Same way, Python, different bindings available, Ruby, gem file available. So Selenium is available in the form of different libraries with different languages. We can call it as a framework. It's a framework as well, right? Or we call it as an API. So Selenium is basically an API. Now, what do you understand by the term API? What is an API?
Application programming interface, which is used to communicate.
Application programming interface. That's a full form. So what exactly we have inside application programming interface?
An interface which is used to communicate between two applications, mainly like across network, or within the application is also fine. Yeah.
Within the applications as well. Correct. So what do we have inside that API?
Only the definition, not the implementation part.
We don't have the implementation?
No.
Business logic?
Mostly
in programming, it will be having the business logic. So,
Mm-hmm.
and so we will be sending the request, which will be performed via programming, and then it will be sent.
We have some program associated with it, right?
Yes.
So what that program contains, what that program consists of?
So business logic to give the instruction like what all data we need or like what all operation we wanted to perform inside the.
Mm-hmm. So when we talk about web services, don't just relate it with the REST or SOAP. These are also these are also APIs. When we talk about APIs, don't just relate with web services. So API, it's a huge terminology. There are a lot of things that come inside API. So it consists a complete project, which may going to contain a lot of methods, a lot of classes, interfaces, a complete project, right? And then you are consuming that project in some other project so that it act as an API for that project. So don't get confused. I know people who are very new to automation might gonna get a little confused, but let us discuss this with some examples. So let's say I'm a Java developer and I joined some xyz.com where I got a task that I need to design a calculator. So in a calculator, there are various operations available where I can add something, subtract something, divide something, multiply something, and so on. So what I need to do, I need to develop a calculator, right, as a Java developer. So what I'll be doing, I'll be creating a Java project. And then in that project, I'll be creating a class which is called as calculator. Now, I hope everyone must have heard there is something called as a class. This is for the people who have not done any programming, like who have not taken the core Java training so far, I just want to check whether you know what a class is. Not practically, but you may have heard somewhere there is something called as a class. Maybe in your graduation time, you must have studied C++. Then there you may have written some code for class, right? Is there anyone who has never touched any programming in their life? Anyone? So I'm not talking that you're practically implemented. You must have studied in your graduation, or maybe read somewhere on YouTube, or you may have studied some books related to programming. So there is no one who has never ever touched any programming. There's no one, right? Don't worry, even if you have never worked with any programming language, if you have never studied any programming language, don't worry about it. Just try to like take these concepts as it is for today, because from the very next session, when we start with Java, we're going to start with the ABC part of Java, right? So today I will be writing a little bit of code just in order to make you understand what exactly is Selenium, because Selenium is not a tool, right? When we say it is not a tool, we cannot install Selenium. So in order to understand what exactly Selenium is, I need to write a little bit code, right? But don't worry about it if you don't understand the coding part. Just try to understand the concept. That is what is required for today. So what is a class? A class is a collection of similar kind of object, collection of all methods, correct? What else? What exactly is a class?
It's a template where you
Mhm.
kind of structure, like where we'll have a methods and variables members of class.
Methods, data members, variables, like data types, right? It's a container. Okay, that's correct. That's great. So all these things are correct about a class, right? So as I said, as a Java developer, I need to design a calculator, and for that I have created one class called as calculator. Now in this class, I need to implement all these functionalities: addition, division, subtraction. So all these functionalities will gonna go inside this class in a form of a function. And function we call as a method in Java, right? So if we talk about method, if I say function, just understand both as the same thing, right? So I've created one function called as addition. And inside this, I'm gonna write some code. If you call this function, if you call this method, it is going to add some numbers. Same way, I'll be creating one method called as subtraction. And in this, I'm going to write some code which will subtract some numbers. Same way, I'll write division, I'll write multiplication, and so on. So one by one, I'll keep on creating functions. And once I done by with creation of all the functions, so what I'm going to do is I need to test whether this addition that I've created is working fine or not, subtraction is working fine or not, right? So what I need to do, I need to call this function from this class. How to call a function from a class? Anyone?
Sorry, what is the question?
The question is how to call this method from this class. See, we have created all the methods which we need to implement for a calculator class. Now we need to test whether the addition is working fine, subtraction is working fine, division is working fine or not. So in order to do that, I need to call this addition method from this class. So how to call this addition method from the class?
We need to create an object of that class and then call this method through that object. Otherwise,
Okay.
class name dot method name. If
Class name dot method name may not work here if the methods are not static, right? So right now we are not talking about static, non-static. So just a normal process, how to call a method from a class, we need to create an object. So what is the syntax of creating an object?
It's a class name, reference name is equal to new and class name, etc.
class name, and I can say object, obj, or I'll give it a meaningful name, calc, then equal to the new and the calculator. This is the syntax of creating an object of a class, right? Now, in order to call a method from a class, I'll simply say calc dot and the method name like add. That's it. If I run this much code, what it is going to do, it is going to execute the addition, whatever code that is written in the addition method, that will be executed. Same way, if I want to call subtraction, I'm gonna do it like this. Division, I'm gonna do it like this, right? One by one, I can call all the methods from this class. But in order to call any method, I first need to create an object of the class using this statement. So what is an object inside this statement?
It's a new calculator is the object.
New calculator. Is new calculator an object? How about others?
An instance of the class has been created. Instance of class.
Instance.
Yeah.
So what is that inside this statement? What we call, what thing is creating an object in this statement? If I have to call something an object, what is that thing in this statement?
New is creating a new object and then storing the reference in cals.
Object can be defined by any variable and then we can call it.
So is this an object?
Yes.
It's a reference. It is containing the reference of object created by new.
By new. So can new alone create an object?
No, the class constructor, it's a constructor, right? Calculator. So
is this an object?
No, it's a
calculator is an object. Calculator is a class.
Is this an object?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes, that's an object. New calculator constructor is an object. The cal is the reference, the storage.
So this is what it is, creating the object in the memory, right? And then we are storing the address of that object in a variable. So this is not an object. This is a reference to the object, right? This holds the reference of that object. And what is this? What is this called as?
It's a type, basically, like what kind of
type,
reference.
right? Data
It's a type. Correct. Okay, so we're going to see this thing practically as well. So normally what happens is previous time people used to write Java code in Notepad. But now time has changed. Many editors are available in the market with artificial intelligence. So some editors are paid, some are open source. Like we have Eclipse, we have IntelliJ, we have NetBeans, we have WebStorm, a lot of editors available, right? Mostly people are using Eclipse, and now these days, many of them, they have started using IntelliJ as well. But still, the demand of Eclipse is high. So we are going to use Eclipse IDE in our training. So Eclipse is completely open source, no license required to work with Eclipse. But there's a prerequisite to get started with Eclipse as well, even to get started with Selenium as well, that you need to have Java installed on your machine. So Java as in JDK, Java Development Kit. And the version of Java, which is the minimum version that is required to work on Selenium for Java. Can anyone tell me? 9? 8? Yeah, Banu, I'm going to explain classes object again. Don't worry. 1.8? Java 6? Guys, come on. What is the minimum version required for latest version of Selenium?
Java 11.
We recently got an update in Selenium community that some version that people used to use a lot is no more be supported. and that version is Java 8, right? We used to use Java 8 a lot because that was one of the most stable version. But now in the community itself, if you're using latest Selenium version, Java 8 is no more supported. So the minimum version that is required is Java 11. That's correct. And this is again one of the most stable version of Java. Even if you are using the latest one like Java 20, then I don't recommend you to use that one, because you may gonna face some issues with the integration when you're gonna integrate. There are a lot of integrations that we'll be doing. Like you may have heard something called as Jenkins, Maven, then a lot of other APIs will be integrating. So if you're using Java 20, then you may gonna face some issues. So I don't recommend you to use the latest Java version. Use JDK 11, which is one of the most stable version. And how you're gonna get it? First, you need to go to control panel and see what version of Java that you have, because at times you're installing some software, Java gets automatically installed with that. So simply go to your control panel and see what is the current version of Java on your machine. See, I have Java Development Kit 11. If you see 18, 20 over here, simply uninstall it. It's not going to harm any running program. Don't worry about it. Simply uninstall it. It's a very quick installation. So close it and then go to Google and type download JDK 11. So from this Oracle website, Manish, if you have Java 8, then just completely remove it and install Java 11. Installation is very simple. Don't worry about it. So go to this particular link by Oracle. And here you're going to see Java is available for different OS. So since I'm using Windows, I'll be installing this 64-bit installer. So this is the exe file you'll be downloading. Java installation is very simple. Double click on the exe, next, and it gets installed, right? The other configuration you need to do once the Java is installed, it is going to generate some folders inside your program files. And here you'll be seeing a folder of Java. Just open it and you're going to see JDK 11. This is where your Java 11 is. If you open this, you'll see a lot of files, lot of folders over here. Open the bin one, and here somewhere you're going to find Java. This is your Java application, the main Java application, which is going to support other programs. Now, a lot of other programs that we're going to integrate with Selenium may need the access of Java. They want to know where Java is there on your machine. Otherwise, those programs may not going to work. Even Eclipse will not work if Eclipse don't know that Java is at this particular location. So what we do, we configure Java globally in our system environment variables. So this is a mandatory configuration that everyone has to do after they install Java. So just copy the root package, the JDK folder, and go to start and type edit. This is a shortcut. Here you see edit system environment variable. Click on this and click on environment variables. So you see user variable, you see system variable. You don't need to do anything inside the user variable. Under the system variable, click on new and type Java_home and paste this path and click on OK. So I've already done this. This is how your Java home variable is going to look like. So we have created a variable which is holding the address of JDK folder. That's it. Go down. This is a normal standard to keep it in uppercase. Even if you keep it in lowercase, that should not matter, right? But this is a standard that everyone should like create it in a uppercase only, right? So just go down and here you're going to find a path variable. Edit this. You're going to see a lot of things already configured over here. So at times you install your operating system. There are some libraries related to system 32-bit and other programs also get automatically added over here. You should be very careful while doing this configuration. If you try to delete, modify these things, it may gonna corrupt your Windows or may gonna stop existing running program as well. So don't do anything with existing things. Just click on new and here type percentage Java underscore home percentage, the variable name that you have created with these percentage signs. What this will gonna do? This will gonna bring the path of JDK folder because this variable is holding the address of JDK folder. And where we have Java inside this JDK folder, it is inside the bin folder. That's it. So this is what you need to do, / and then the bin path like this. Like I've already done it over here. So I'm not going to redo it. So this will gonna bring your Java location. You can configure it globally using the path variable under the system environment variables. So once you're done with this, that is all. The Java configuration is done. Go to command prompt and see Java is configured successfully or not. Type Java -version. Press enter. You should be able to see the current version of Java on your machine. That's it. This is the very first prerequisite. Yeah, Selenium code may gonna work, but if you integrate Maven, if you integrate Jenkins, that is not going to work. Eclipse by default picks up that part. So like you may gonna see when you add initial Selenium jar, it may gonna work. But we don't use directly Selenium jar file, we integrate Selenium with Maven and then we're gonna start using it. So the very first session when we start with Selenium, we start with the Maven part itself. Can we save all existing files from Java 20 if we have already installed? See, your files will gonna remain as it is. You're just uninstalling the Java version. So don't worry about the code that you have written. Right? It is going to work as it is. And for the timing, if you have already started using JDK 20, and if your code is working fine, don't uninstall it for the timing. Later on, if you face any challenge related to the integration part, then you can remove it. Then you can just downgrade it to Java 11. That's it. Yeah, Java underscore home is the standard variable name that we should be giving. Right. Okay, so once this is installed, the next thing we need to do is we need to download an editor where we can write the Java code, and that is Eclipse. So which Eclipse version to download? We'll be downloading the latest version itself. So go to Eclipse, this link, and don't install from here. Click on download packages because Eclipse contains a lot of editors. Eclipse supports a lot of languages, not just Java. You can write C++ code, you can write Python code, PHP code, Ruby code, right? So this editor has a lot of plugins to support multiple languages. We need a basic Java support with Eclipse. So we'll be downloading this version. IDE for Eclipse, Enterprise, Java, and Web Developer. This is what you need to download. And based on your operating system, Windows, Mac, Linux, you need to download. Like mine is Windows. If I click on it, you can see in the status bar, it is showing Eclipse zip file, which is getting downloaded. So I've downloaded the latest one only. Once you download it, you get a zip file. Once you unzip it, you get a folder of Eclipse like this. So I recently downloaded the latest version, and this is the 2023-03 latest version. I guess 03 is the latest one. Now it is 06. So 2023-06. So you can download the latest one, but this one should also work fine, absolutely. So if you see, this is a folder you get once you unzip it, you open it, you see a lot of files over here. Nothing installable in Eclipse. This is the application. Double click on it, and it is going to launch your Eclipse. So very first thing, it is going to ask you for a workspace. Workspace is basically a location where you'll be maintaining your project code. So any piece of code you're going to write will be stored at some location on your disk. So that is what workspace is. So I am going to give the workspace name with our current batch name. So I'm going to name this batch as batch July 2023 and click on OK. So this is going to launch your Eclipse.
Sorry,
You can use IntelliJ as well, any editor you want. Yeah.
Sorry, what if I've installed full, and how do I check whether I installed full rather than the minimum?
See, then there you may gonna see a template, you may gonna see a lot of things to select. You may gonna uncheck some of those options, otherwise you're going to do a huge installation. So all that is not required. So that is the reason I ask you to just install this zip. I mean, download this zip file. That's it.
Yeah, so I want to check it, and if I've installed fully, I want to uninstall and install the minimum one. How do I check whether I've done minimum or the full set?
I never do that installation, so I cannot recommend you right now because I've never installed using that exe, right? Because I know, I mean, when you install it, then you have to install a lot of packages. So don't install that. If you've already installed it, then just keep it as it is. If things are running fine, don't remove it.
Okay.
Right.
Just to save memory, it's
absolutely.
It's becoming more, so I want to delete it, or I want to check first.
Yeah, I mean, if you try to again delete and install one by one, that might be a tricky process. So don't do it. Either completely uninstall Eclipse. Even if you are uninstalling Eclipse, whatever projects that you have created, they're not going to go away because those are not stored inside Eclipse. Those are stored inside some location on your machine, the workspace that is created. So you are not going to delete the workspace.
Okay, so if I just say search for the programs and uninstall Eclipse, the entire set would be removed, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the code, the projects will not be removed.
Yeah, except
just the
that.
Eclipse will be removed.
I mean, including the other, whatever you said, you mentioned some other tools will also included. Even those will be removed, and then
everything will be removed.
I can
then
install
you can
freshly.
Yeah, just to save the disk. Otherwise, it may gonna take more than 1 GB space. And right now it is just 500 MB.
Yeah. So just to recap on this package, we went to that Eclipse, and then rather than on the main download button, there was underneath, there was a link.
Download packages.
Okay, there.
That, and then from here, download this Windows or Mac, whichever you're using.
IDB. We should take enterprise version, not for Java developers.
Yeah, we should take this one.
Okay, second one.
Okay, so then after this, once your Eclipse is launched, you're going to see a welcome screen like this. Just close it. And this is how your Eclipse look like. This is the project explorer. Here you'll be creating your projects, adding classes, right? Packages. Here you'll be writing the code. Here you're going to see the output of that code. So we're going to talk about multiple Eclipse features once we proceed with the course. So right now, I just started as a Java developer and I have to create a calculator for some xyz.com. So let us see how to create a calculator. For that, I need to create a Java project. So I'm going to click on create a project. From this template, select Java project, next. And here I'll be giving some project name. So any name I can give. I am creating a Java project. So I'm going to give it as I'm creating a calculator. So I'm going to give it a name as CalC project. And from here, I'll be selecting Java 11. And then a couple of things, make sure you don't check this module that this is not required. Click on finish. That's it. So just create a project name, select Java, uncheck module info, click on finish. And click on open. So this is going to create a new Java project for you. So this is your Java project. If you open it, you find your GRE system library already added with this project. This is your Java internal library that is required for this project. Then we have a SRC, which is called as a source folder. Any coding you want to do, you have to do it inside this folder. So like we are going to create a class with the name as calculator. So I'm going to right click on this folder, say new, and click on class. And here it is asking for a class name. So class name, I'm going to give it over here like calculator. And class name always starts with a capital letter. Even if you started with a small letter, it is not going to give you any error. But there are some coding practices that we will be following, something called as camel casing. What camel casing is? Basically, if I create a class, I create it with a capital letter. If I create a method, I create it with a small letter. So let's say there are some words which is called as, like, there are a couple of words, the dark night. So there are 3 words, right? So this complete thing contains 3 different words. One is the, then dark, then night. If I write it like this is not very readable, right? So in order to make it more readable, if this is a class name, it should start with a capital letter. And anything joining should be in caps. So this is what is like in a camel form, right? And if this is a method name, it should start with a small letter. Anything combined should be in caps. So this is what is called as camel casing. Now, next time, if you read any developer's project, you should be able to come to know whether this is a class or a method, because class name always start with a capital letter, method name always start with a small letter. Package name should be in small letters only. Right? What are packages? We're going to discuss about it later on, because right now we are not going in depth of this. So there are many new people who don't know class, methods. So we are going to cover only very, very basic concepts. So after creating the class name, we're going to check this public static void main and click on finish. So you're going to see a simple code over here, a sample code. Let me increase the font size. Okay, so these are comments. I'll remove them. Now we can see a lot of things over here. There are something in reddish color, something in black color. All these reddish colors are predefined keywords. Like we have public, private, protected. What are these things called? These things are called as access specifiers, access modifiers, right? We have static, non-static. We have void, int, string, other return type to a method. This is a method, main method, by default method in Java. If you have to execute anything in Java, it has to be inside this method body. This is a method body. This is a class body. This class contains one method. It can contain n number of methods, but this is a by default method. So what is public, what is static, what is void? Don't worry about it right now, because we have detailed lectures around these things in the core Java sessions. So don't worry about these things right now. But anything we have to execute, we do it inside this method. Like when we get started with the very first program, we try to print something. Right? Like if we talk about C, can anyone tell me how to print in C? How do we print in C? Anyone? C. C out? Print? Println? No, printf. Correct. We use printf. How about C++? C out. Correct. And how about Java? System out println. Correct. So the very first program of any programming language is to print hello world. Right? And now if I run it, this is a run button. Simply click on the run button, or there's a shortcut Control F11 and your program will be executed. See? Right? Either you click on this run button or do Control F11 and the program will, whatever you have written inside system out println will be printed over here. Right? So we're not here to print hello world right now. We are trying to understand what is exactly is an API. For that, we are creating a calculator project, right? But with this thing, we have made sure that our Java is working fine, our Eclipse is working fine, and now we can get started with our project, right? So let us create a calculator project. Let me comment out this. And in a calculator, we have various methods available like addition, division. So I need to create all those methods. So I'll be creating one of the methods called as public void add. See, method name will start with a small letter. Even if I started with capital letter, it will not throw any error. Right? But this is a standard practice. We should make that method name should always start from a small letter. Now, inside this addition method, I'm going to write some code which is going to add some numbers. But right now, we don't know coding. So for the time being, I'm just going to print something like adding some numbers. That's it. So if you call this addition method, it is not going to add anything. It is just going to print adding some numbers. That's it. Same way, we'll be creating other functionalities. We're gonna create more methods, more functions. One method named as subtract. It is going to subtract some numbers. Then we're gonna create a method called as multiply, and this is going to multiply some numbers. Then divide. It is going to divide some numbers and so on. Right? So let's assume I have completed the entire project. Now I want to test whether addition method is working fine or not. So how to do that? I'll go inside the main method and I'll gonna first create an object of this class, calculator class. So how to do that? We have already seen. Here is our notepad file. Yeah. So what we did, we created object like this. So let me copy this and let me go back to Eclipse and let me paste it here. And see, it is working absolutely fine. There are no errors. Errors in the sense, if I write calculators, then you can see it is highlighted with red color. So if you do mouse over on this, it is saying it cannot be resolved to a type. So see, this thing is called as a type. Right? This is a type. And Eclipse is not able to understand what this calculators is. So it is giving us suggestions. Create a class calculators. Why to create a class calculators when we already have a calculator class? So it is saying change to calculator. Click on this and it will be changed to calculator. Right? And now if you do calc dot, you should be able to see all the methods inside this class. Like addition is the method, division is the method, multiplication, subtraction. So I'm going to call the methods one by one. So I called calc dot add. I'll click on run and you can see adding some numbers is printed. Same way, I'll do calc dot subtract. I'll call calc dot divide, calc dot multiply. One by one, I call all the methods. I click on run and see everything is executed successfully. Right? There is one more method which has got the same name as of the class name. What we call it as?
Constructor.
Constructor. What are constructors?
Constructor is used to initialize the objects.
Used to initialize objects.
Mainly, it's a methods and so it is a method which has got
instance of class. Okay.
Yeah, instance of class set.
How about others? What is a constructor?
So it's a special method of a class which called immediately after the object creation, to initialize the data members.
Absolutely. So it has got a same name as of the class name. And this is the very first thing that is called as soon as you create an object of a class. Right. So like I'm saying, like this is like a method. So I can write some code over here as well. I can write a code calling constructor. Right. Now how to call this? Shall I go over here and say calc dot, I'm not getting calculator. See, I'm not getting that in the list. Then how are we going to call it? Because this is not a method. We're not going to get it like the way we call method. Even if you don't call these methods, this is where you're creating object of a class, right? So as soon as you run this, you can see the very first thing that is called as a constructor. Right? So constructor is called automatically as soon as you create an object of a class. Now, again, we come back to the same question. What is an object inside this class? So some people says calc is an object. Some people says new calculator an object. Let's assume this calc is an object. I removed new calculator. Now this is also a correct statement, right? There are no errors. This is a correct statement. If calc is an object, if I click on run button, will the constructor be called or not?
No.
It's
No.
not. No or yes?
No.
Whether the constructor will be called or not?
No, it will not.
But it's not called.
So it means this is not an object, right? See, if I click on run button, nothing happens. Now what I'll do, I'll remove this. And still it is a valid statement. See, no errors. Now tell me, if I run this, will the constructor be called or not?
Yes, it will.
Will it be called? How about others? Will it be called?
Yes, it
Yeah,
will be.
constructor.
Okay, that's great. So let's click on run and see. So if this is creating an object and calling constructor, then why that calc is required? Why can't we just write new calculator if it is creating an object?
Because
What
we
is the
need to
need of it?
use it later, right? To call other functions of that class.
Okay, so it means in order to call addition, division, we need to have that calc available. If the calc is not there, we cannot call addition method. Correct? Or can we call addition method? Can we call addition method without that calc?
Yeah, once we can, right? If I write new calculator dot something, might be I can.
Correct. So I can still call addition like this. See, new calculator dot add. If I run this, you can see it has called the addition method. What if now I want to call division? How will I call it?
So then you might need to create a new object because you have not
Correct.
stored its value there.
Correct. So again, I need to write this. Again, I need to, in order to call subtraction, I need to write this. In order to call multiplication, I need to write this. So if there are 100 methods inside this class, I may need to create 100 objects. You can see how many times constructor called? 4 times. Every time an object is created, constructor is called. So it means in a memory, we have created 4 objects in order to call 4 methods. Now, if I have to call 100 methods, I'll be creating hundreds of objects. This is not feasible, right? So what we want only one object to be created, and all the method should be called from the same object reference. So what I did, wherever the object is created, I want to store this into some variable, and I can give that variable any name, like ABCD equal to this. Equal to is an assignment operator, right? So I'm assigning the value to this variable. There's just a variable. Normally we give it a meaningful name. So I'll name it as calc. Now every variable has some type in Java, right? If I'm storing a value 100 in some variable like value equal to 100, what will be its type?
Integer.
Anything from the byte to long.
Int. Right? It's always int. Right? Can I write string over here? Can it be string? See, it's throwing error. So whatever the value that you stored, the type should be corresponding to that only. If this is in double quotes, if I write my name over here, I can store it in string. Can I store it in int? I can't, right? So what is this? What is string? What is int? What is string over here? Can anyone tell me what is string? What do we call it as? Type?
Data type.
Data type, correct. Anything else we call string as?
Non-primitive data type.
Anything else?
Wrapper
Apart-
class.
Sorry?
Wrapper class.
Wrapper class. See, you mouse over on string and it will tell you that it's a string class, right? So string is also a class. If string is a class, then what is value for this class? What is this for string class?
A reference variable.
reference variable. If we say reference variable dot, then you can see we get access to all the methods inside the string class. Right? Same way, when we are storing this in a variable, there has to be some type. And this type could be a class, right? And could be other things as well, which we're not discussing right now. But this could be any data type, this could be any class, but it can't be int, it can't be string. It has to be of the same type which this is holding value of. So it is holding value of calculator object. So the type will also be of calculator. So that is the reason we call it as a type. This is a variable, or we call it as a reference variable. This is an assignment operator. This is a keyword. This is a constructor. And this whole thing is creating an object. And now with this reference, if we call any method from this class, calc.add, calc.subtract, calc.multiply, calc.divide, we save this, we run this, and you can see only and only one object is created and all the methods are referred from the same object reference, right? So this is very basic concepts. For the people who are very new to programming, might be finding it a little difficult, but this is actually not difficult. Once you start with your core Java concepts, you'll find it very easy. So today you need not to learn any programming. You just need to understand the concepts, right? Because I started working as a Java developer, then I created a calculator project. Now all the functionalities that I want are created now. Now I want to publish this project in the market. Because what I want, let's say I've written some 100 lines of code inside addition method. Now, if someone wants to do addition, division, he should not again create this project, right? He should not again write 100 lines of code to add something. He can use my library and I don't want to charge anything. So I want to launch it as an open source library. And as I said, open source does not only means free of cost, it also means anyone can contribute into the development of this project as well. So next time, if someone likes my project and he wants to add more functionality like calculating percentage, square root, and number of other things, then he is most welcome. He can add that code to this particular project. So that is what open source means. Otherwise, if someone wants to use it free of cost, can access all these methods without rewriting the entire code. So how are we going to do it? We're going to right click on our project. We're going to go to export. And then we'll select the Java and select the jar file. So we are actually going to export this project in a form of a jar file. Click on next. And here give some name. So I'm going to name it as calculator version 1.0.jar, the very first version of my project. And I'm going to store it somewhere on the desktop. Click on finish. Now, if I go to my desktop, you can see this calculator jar is created. Now, if I double click on it, will it going to install calculator on my machine? Will it install calculator? If I double click, will it install calculator? Will you see any GUI showing up? No, right? Why? Because this only holds some collection of classes, some collection of methods, which you can just access it from this jar file. That's it. There is no GUI part. Now, what I want this, anyone who wants to add, subtract something can access these functionalities. And I want that anyone from any part of world, if they want to do it, they can access it. But how will they access it? I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to upload it to my website. Because website can be accessed from any part of the world, right? So anyone can go to my website, download this jar file, and access the functionality free of cost without paying anything. Right? So after creating this calculator project, let's say I left this organization. So I'm going to close this project. Now I joined another company. Let's say a banking domain I joined, and this is American Express. So let's say I join MX, and they already have their project developed. I was hired in between of that project, and that was also a Java project, one of the Java project. And in that project, they were already having some functionality, like there was a class called as a banking class. So there's a class called as banking. And in this class, they already have some functionalities for calculating profit, a functionality for calculating loss. So these were the functionality which were already there. And as I was hired in between of this project, they asked me to implement some functionality that could add salaries for n number of employees. So what I need to do, I need to create a method called as addition over here as well. Now, if I talk about this addition method, this has got the same functionality that I have created in my calculator project in the previous organization. Now, there are two ways to create this. Either I should write the entire code again. I can easily do it, but it is going to take some time, maybe some days to finish it, because it's like 500 lines of code. So I need some time to create it. But why should I invest this much amount of time when the functionality is already available in some another project, and that is a freely available project? It's an open source project. I can access that functionality from there. So how I am going to access that? I'll go to their website, I download their jar file. And once I download the jar file, I right click on my American Express project. I'll go to build path. I'll click on add external archives. And there I select this calculator jar. I'll click on open. And you can see calculator jar is added as a reference library to my American Express project. If you expand this, you're going to see calculator class. You're going to see all the methods that were there inside that class. Addition, division, multiplication. But I'm not able to see the code, what is written inside addition. And I really don't bother about that code. I can access the functionality easily, and it is going to work the same way addition method works. Just that I'm not able to see the code. At times it happens like developer don't want to share their code. But in an open source project, open source means anyone can contribute into the development part as well. So they actually give away their code as well. But here we don't have access to the code. But let's see, can I implement this addition functionality in my project? So how to do that? We have a class calculator. So we're going to create an object of calculator class. Calculator calc equal to new calculator. And see, I'm able to create it. I'm not getting any error. Why? Because I have this jar file here. If I remove this jar file, if I go to build path, remove, see, now Eclipse is not able to understand what calculator is. It is asking me to create a class calculator. But why should I create it when it is already available in some other third-party project? So I'll add that third-party project through external archives with the help of this jar file. Then I'm able to access calculator class and its method as well. Now I can go inside this and I can call the method calc.add. Let's change this method to add salary. See, I've implemented this functionality without writing the entire code. Now, if you want to call this add salary, how will you call it? You need a main method. So let's add a main method. And now you need to call add salary from banking class. So you need to create an object of banking class. Say banking b equal to new banking. And then you say b dot add salary. That's it. And if you run it, you're going to see same functionality is executed without rewriting the code with the help of this jar file. So if I talk about this jar file, this acts as an API to American Express, right? Because we are consuming the functionality of a third-party project in our project without recreating the entire functionality. So this is also called as a project. This is also called as a library. This is also called as an API. And if you're talking about Selenium, Selenium is one of the same thing. Selenium is available in a form of a single jar file or multiple collection of jar files. So which we can download it directly from the Selenium website. So which is the website of Selenium? What is the name of Selenium website? What is the URL? Can anyone tell me?
Selenium.org.
Selenium.org. SeleniumHQ.org was the old website. Selenium.dev. Correct. It's Selenium.dev. That's the latest website. See, Selenium automates browsers. That's it. Selenium is only for web-based testing. If you go to download, you're going to see Selenium, different libraries available with C#, Ruby, and this is the version 4.10.0. Whichever language you want to use, you can download Selenium from that. Let's say I click on this latest stable version. If I click on this, this is downloading one single jar file, which is just a 20 MB jar file. And once it gets downloaded, it is, let me go inside downloads and see what is downloaded. See, we got one single jar file, right? Just a 30 MB jar file, 4.10. So what we need to do, we need to go inside Eclipse. We right click, we go to build path, add external archives, and we go to download and add this jar file. That's it. Now we are done with the configuration of Selenium. Now we can start using Selenium functionality and can automate any website in the world, right? Like I want to automate something on Chrome. When we were using calculator functionality, we have a class called as calculator. Now I want to automate something on Chrome. We can remove this class and we can call a class called as Chrome driver. And we create an object of this class, Chrome driver equal to new Chrome driver. Same way like we created an object of calculator class. Now we created an object of Chrome driver class. Now if I click on run, see what happens. A Chrome browser is launched. Just by creating an object of Chrome driver class, a browser is getting launched. Now, where that code is written to launch a browser, maybe some 500 lines of code is written to launch a browser on this machine. But where is that code written? Where is that code written?
In the Selenium server jar files we got.
In this jar file. Where inside this jar file?
What is the class name here?
Chrome driver class.
Chrome driver, yeah.
Inside Chrome driver class, correct. Where inside the Chrome driver class?
Where is it? You didn't show anywhere here.
In constructor?
In constructor, correct. Not inside any method. We have not yet called any method, right? It is inside constructor. So it means even if I don't write this, as soon as I create an object of a class, a constructor is called. So if I create an object, click on run, then you're going to see a browser launches, right? So in the constructor, it is written how to launch a browser. But how many lines of code is written? Why should we worry? Are we developing Selenium? No, we are using Selenium for our automation. And for that, we want a browser should launch. It should navigate to the website and start clicking, typing, and performing all the manual actions that we do manually on a web page. We want to automate all those actions. For that, we need to create an object of this class by saying Chrome driver equal to new Chrome driver. When you do driver dot, you get list of all the methods you need for automation. So one of the method you call this get. See, get, and it is asking for URL in a string format, means double quotes. And if I say http waytoautomation.com, I save this and run this, it will again launch a browser, will navigate to waytoautomation.com, right? So that is how now you can call methods one by one and you can automate the entire website. So what is the prerequisite? Just you need Java, you need Eclipse, and you need just this 30 MB jar file. That's it. Now you can automate any website in the world. Right? And you will be calling all the methods, all the functions which are already developed. You are not going to develop any method to automate a website. All the methods are already developed and available inside this class and multiple other classes. So you just need to call their classes, create object of their classes, call the methods inside those classes and automate the website. Right? So that is what your Selenium is. Selenium is not a tool. You cannot install Selenium. It's just collection of classes, methods, and different functionalities. Right? So anyone, any questions so far? I hope you are able to understand the configuration part. We'll be repeating this once we start with Selenium. And before that, people who recently joined, we're going to start with their core Java sessions from next week. Yeah, it is okay to use 4.9 as well. But yeah, it is always recommended to use a latest version. But 4.9, 4.10, there is hardly any difference. Right.
For this Chrome driver, we don't need to something we install in our system, right? We keep that jar file in our system and then
You
we
can keep it at any location you want.
okay.
And then you right click on your project, build path, add external archives, select open. That's it. And it's get added.
No, not about Selenium. I'm asking about this Chrome driver. We don't need to.
You don't need it now. You don't need it now.
Okay.
It is no more required. After Selenium 4.6, we don't need Gecko driver, Chrome driver. So everything is inbuilt now.
Sorry, I've got few questions.
Yeah.
One is, now in order to use or work on the Selenium, this is how we need to download the Selenium server jar file from their website, and then add it here in this place, right?
Absolutely. This is the basic to get started.
Okay. Next thing is this calc proj. How did you get that? Why?
So what I did, let me again reopen it. How I got it. So just give me a moment. So normally you'll not be doing it. This is just an example to make you understand how we consume others' project in our project. So what I did, I clicked on export. Then I selected Java, and here I select this. Yeah, then I selected jar file, then I clicked on next, and then I've given this name and clicked on finish. So it generated a jar file out of this project.
But actually the reference added here calculator v1 point, then does it also create a project?
No, this creates a jar file with version 1.0. You can see we have added in a reference library version 1.0. You can give any name to this jar.
Oh, sorry. Okay, you used everything in the same file. Okay, first we created a calc project, and then you said export. Right click on that.
And export.
And then right click on that and build. Is it build and export or just?
No, right click export.
And give the name of it. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
And then to consume, we just went and added in the build path export archive from external.
Absolutely.
Okay. Got one question. This .jar will it contain source code or executable file?
Right now it only contains the executable part, but you can add the source code as well.
We can add later.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when we install this Eclipse for a first time, after installing, how did you get that? Like you named it batch July 23, what it is and how
that was a workspace. So when you double click on the Eclipse file, Eclipse application, it will ask you to create a workspace.
So is it possible to show that, or is it one of, I wanted to see.
It's a simple process. I mean, like you need to go to the location where you have downloaded Eclipse. So this is the location, and this is the Eclipse application. When you click on it, here it will ask you to provide workspace. So when you create any new name, it is going to create a new workspace, or else if you have selected the already existing place, then it is going to launch the project that we just created.
So what is the hierarchy? So first is the workspace, and then package, and then project, or what's the
You can even create any random folder in your C drive, D drive, and create it as a workspace.
So the hierarchy is workspace. Yes, the start bit is workspace.
Yeah.
Workspace, and then package, and then project. Yeah.
Workspace, and then your project name. Workspace and some folder and some project name. That's it.
Folder is
folder and package both are same.
Oh, okay. So when you create a workspace, automatically this package, everything will be created.
Absolutely.
Okay. I think last question, you assigned value equals 100 without creating any data type, and you mentioned that it is
I
int
created
only.
data type
Later, but you mentioned it is int only. Why not any other data types? I mean, which has numeric
every value has got some type defined. So all data types related to integer, you can try using it. Right? We have int, we have long, right? But float. But for that, we should have decimal values, and then we, if we are storing anything in double quotes, like we are storing name, we cannot store it in int. So these are the things we'll be covering in our initial Java session when we're going to discuss about the data types.
Yeah, but so the data type can be anything, like numeric one, whole number. When you assign 100, we can put it byte and short and long, any number, right? Any data type, sorry.
Yeah, try doing it. Try practicing at your end. Just try doing it.
Okay. I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay, so there's another question from Anushka. What is driver? Please tell us in short how it is coded. See, drivers are nothing. I mean, these classes are named as Chrome driver, Firefox. If I change this to Firefox driver, your Firefox browser will be launched. If I change this to Edge driver, Edge browser will be launched. So they have given the name as Chrome driver, Firefox driver, Gecko driver. So all these are part of Selenium only.
Okay, I have one query regarding the dependencies. Can I ask in this class for me?
Dependencies we are going to cover in the very next session. So I guess people might gonna get confused because that is related to the Maven part. So the very next session we are going to get started with Maven only.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, for the next session, we should have this Selenium install, Eclipse installed, and then
these are the things which should be running on your machine at least. The Java should be there, Eclipse should be there, and try just running at least this program and see if you're able to launch a browser or not.
So add the Selenium and then try it out, yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay, what's the structure? How are you going to take it, like in the following sessions? Theory and you will do some.
There is no theory in Selenium. So the only basic theory is to understand the history of this project. That's it. Rest, there is no theory. Everything is completely practical. We'll be picking up the websites and we'll start automating it.
So will you give some time, like when you know, so for example, you wrote this program, will you give a time for us to do that?
When I'm doing it right now, the same way we're going to continue with the classes. You can ask questions in between and everything is being recorded, right? So after the session, I'm going to give you assignments. Like these are the websites, these are the functionalities that you need to automate from your end. So that you need to do it during the weekdays and then you need to submit back.
Okay, so in the class, you won't give a small time amount to do one small program and then execute and check it.
No, I mean, otherwise it is going to take a huge amount of time. I mean, if you start writing code, because everyone has its own pace of starting of writing the code. See, initially, the people who are beginning, when I write these 2 lines of code, I can write it in a few seconds. But the person who is starting it for the very first time, he may gonna write it little slow. He may gonna make some mistake, might gonna do this D in small letter or C in small letter. So that is the reason practicing side by side, I don't recommend you, right? So once you follow the entire session, just like go back to your home, your desktop, open up that and try practicing the same thing on your own by again watching that video, right? You can stop the video and then practice and then again rewatch it and then practice. And if you get stuck anywhere, then you can reach back to me, either post your queries in the WhatsApp group. There are other people as well who are going to respond to your queries. If you're not getting any answers from anyone, then you can directly ping to me on WhatsApp as well for the queries.
Okay, we did it in Java a little bit, like, the small program like that. We used to get some 5 minutes time. So that's why I've asked, what is your method or
Yeah, I
way
mean,
of?
see, in Java, you may gonna write a small program, but here, if I ask you to automate this login window and write everyone try to automate this window, so that may gonna take not a little time, it may gonna take more time. So that is the reason. In Java, you may gonna write a little small programs, but here you are actually automating a complete website.
Okay, that's fine. So just one question, like when you're teaching us something, will we like starting like one project, and by the time we finish this course, not a big project, I mean, just to put in a resume or saying to get a confidence saying that I worked on this particular project. Will we drive like that?
To get started, it's not like all the functionalities that we are going to validate is available on one single website. It's not like that. So we'll be picking up so many websites. But at the end, when we start with a live project, we're going to pick up one single website and we'll try to create test cases on that and try to automate some of the part of that. That thing you can show it in your resume. That framework that you have designed from scratch, you should be able to show it.
Okay, so we are going to do that one as well at the end.
Absolutely.
Okay, then. Thank you.
Sure. So there are more questions from other people from next week. We start with Java on the same time. We have a DevOps course. No, DevOps course is running at 6 p.m. India time. 6 to 8 p.m. will be DevOps, and 8 to 10 p.m. will be your Java sessions and the Selenium sessions. So Selenium and Java sessions both are at the same time. So you can attend DevOps with parallel, and I would recommend you to attend DevOps as well, because till the time we complete this Selenium Java in 3.5 months, you will also be good in the DevOps part. Because in DevOps, we are going to cover Git, GitHub, Maven, Jenkins, Dockers, AWS, and these are the same thing we are going to use in Selenium as well. But in DevOps, we are going to study all these things in very depth. So this is going to be a good advantage for you that the DevOps batch is just started. So you can cover both DevOps and Selenium in just 3.5 months.
Can I ask, are we doing Cucumber or TestNG?
Cucumber will be covering in the API automation session. So here we'll be covering two other frameworks, which is data-driven and keyword-driven and the page objects. But I have also covered like Cucumber in my video library as well. So you get access to the complete video library. In case you want to go through the Cucumber part as well, you can watch it from this particular course. Let me show it to you. There's a course. If you go down, you'll see Cucumber. Yeah, this is the Cucumber one. You can watch this particular course. Right, but Cucumber Live we are covering in the API automation. So after this course, when you join for the API, you can cover Cucumber is just a framework that remains same. Either you use it for Selenium, either you use it for APM, or you use it for like API automation. Cucumber remains same. Yeah, thanks, Nandesh. I'll be sending out the new meeting invites to everyone for the next session. Next session will be at the same time, 8 p.m. India time on Saturday. So people who are starting with the Java sessions will gonna receive the WhatsApp group information and the new meeting invite. And people who have already completed Java, you're gonna remain in the same batch, same WhatsApp group, and new meeting invites will be forwarded. And student who joined as a demo session for today, so you guys can enroll yourself for this lifetime membership from here itself. And once you're done, you're gonna get access to all the courses that are listed over here. You'll be added to WhatsApp groups and you'll get the meeting invites.
Hi, Rahul. I've just enrolled for the session. I have a previous subscription. I don't see both of them under the existing subscription.
So you can just drop me an email or just send me a message on WhatsApp with your mail ID. I'll get it.
Okay, sure. I'll send an email.
Sure. Abdul, this is like a good question, but I guess the explanation might not gonna make sense in the very first session today. So this is something related to polymorphic reference that we'll be discussing about. So this is a little advanced topic where you can create an object of one class and can give the reference of another class, which could be a parent class or could be an interface. Like we do WebDriver driver equal to new Chrome driver instead of Chrome driver equal to new Chrome driver. So we're going to have a detailed discussion around that area, but not in the very first session.
Rahul, can you show me here how do we access particular course? Like say today's your session is there.
Okay, so I'll be uploading that session over here. You go to this link. And since it's a very first session of Java, so Selenium, so I'm going to add it over here.
Okay.
I'll share the link with everyone. So you're going to get it in the WhatsApp group as well as on your email.
The review part is only there. We cannot download it so that we can save it and later
So,
on
I
we
mean,
can.
this is because there are thousands of students from across globe already added. So we cannot enable a download of video due to security reasons, but this is a lifetime access. I mean, you can access it from any part of the world.
That is right, but I'm just asking because there are sometimes
downloading your
issues
videos
also.
that is restricted.
Yeah, so that at least you can download it and you can later on see it.
I understand, but yeah, that is the only reason we are actually paying very heavy for the license of this portal. Otherwise, we could have uploaded it on Google Drive and send it to everyone.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, my WhatsApp numbers are the same that are given on the website. So you can go to way2automation.com and here this is my WhatsApp number. So you can add me on WhatsApp on this number. All right, so that's all guys for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed the session and have not got bored.
Hello, Rahul sir.
Yeah.
I have a question. Actually, on my CMD, when we write Java space dash version, my CMD showing it is not recognized as an internal or external command, operable program or batch file.
So it means either you don't have Java installed on your machine. So just check if Java is there on your machine and also try to configure the environment variables.
Okay, sure, definitely. So we have to install that from Maven repository or?
No. Java is not from the Maven. You just need to go to Google and say download JDK 11. That's it.
JDK, right? Okay.
Yeah, JDK 11.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for your patience, and we'll gonna meet next weekend. Right. Thank you all. Thank you so much. We can wind up now. Yeah, I'll share the PDF file. I'll share it with everyone. Sure. Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone.